In March of 2020, the U.S. cruise industry did the unthinkable. We completely halted our operations. And the unthinkable turned into the unimaginable as we paused for more than 15 months. Finally, in July of 2021, Carnival Cruise Line got back to do what we believe we do better than anyone else, welcoming our guests for a well-deserved and always fun cruise vacation. Since our first restart sailings on Carnival Vista from Galveston, Texas on July 3rd, followed by Carnival Horizon on the 4th of July, much has been accomplished and there's been much to celebrate, including introducing our beautiful new ship, Mardi Gras. And just like we had never completely stopped our guest operations, we had never completely restarted them from scratch either. 3 months later, we now have 11 ships, almost half of our U.S. fleet back sailing with guests on board. Last year, you'll recall, we repatriated more than 30,000 Carnival Cruise Line team members back to their home countries. That was no easy task. As challenging as that process was actually easier than what it has been like to get our crew members back on board and ready for guest operations, which included having to get everyone vaccinated, quarantined, and trained on many new protocols and procedures. We reopened operations from 7 of our U.S. home ports, more than any other cruise line. Now that has not only involved training, it has involved reimagining the check-in process, and of course, hosting all of our Back to Fun celebrations. We printed new signage, lots of new signs, at the terminal and on board the ship, all to make sure the new guidelines were easily understood by our guests and followed. And the updates and investments that we made to our hub app during the pause have made it much easier for our guests and team members on board. We've taken lots of calls, and we recognize hold times have been sometimes impossibly long. And for that, we must sincerely apologize. We know there has been a great deal of frustration and also confusion that drove a lot of this call volume because of the changing nature of requirements around vaccinations and testing. We have worked hard to make our Have Fun, Be Safe page on carnival.com the centralized place for our guests and travel advisors to stay informed with up-to-date information. We really appreciate the patience of our guests as we work through the guidelines that are always subject to change. We've worked hard to accommodate as many children and unvaccinated guests as possible under the current guidelines. And as the public health situation improves with the expansion of vaccines, we look forward to welcoming more and more families back on board just as soon as we can. Having said all that, the Carnival team has done a remarkable job at both getting us back to guest operations while delivering on the fun. In many ways, the numbers speak for themselves, whether it's the number of guests we've sailed since we started or the number of Guy's burgers we've served. How many people have ridden on our new Bolt roller coaster on Mardi Gras, or a host of other activities on board. Certainly, financial and business performance is important, but there's another, in many ways, more important way of measuring our progress and success that has nothing to do with the numbers. It's knowing how much happiness we are generating for and from our guests and for and from our crew, from the communities we sail and from the destinations we visit, and from the tens and hundreds of thousands of people whose jobs depend on our companies and our cruise industry's success here in the U.S. 17 ships and 9 U.S. home ports in total for Carnival Cruise Line will restart by the end of the calendar year. We will continue to bring back our fleet until all 24 ships are back in service. And we will continue to operate in ways that protect and promote the health and safety of our guests, crew, and the places our ships visit. So while this is a quick 3-month progress report, our eyes remain squarely on the horizon as we continue to look toward the future. And we want to make sure that all of our loyal guests, employees, business partners, and stakeholders continue to benefit from our return. Thank you and stay safe. As we've said since the start of this, we are Carnival and we are back.